Today's review is sponsored by Cajun Tanning Beds. When you don't want to just be bronze, you want to be charred.
Watch it, Alan. I'm shooting.
The Beyond. I just had the urge to talk about one of my all-time favorite Italian horror movies. I love The Beyond, so I wanted to spend a whole video where I just gushed about it. Yeah, that's what we're going to be doing here. When it comes to Italian horror, my top two are The Beyond and Cannibal Holocaust. They are both #1 for me. I cannot pick between these two films. I love them both equally, because they both hit different aspects of horror for me. The gory, suspenseful, atmospheric end, and the dark, disturbing end.
Leave it be, Alan! She's had it! Hey! We gotta think of ourselves! Hey! We gotta get the film back home, Alan! Think of the film! Think of the film!
Now, I've heard people say before, you can't have two movies in your #1 spot, to which I ask, why? It's a list of my favorite movies. It literally affects absolutely nothing. There's not a positive impact on anything, and there's not a negative impact on anything. It's just my list of personal favorite movies. I'm one of those people that, if I cannot pick between two movies, I don't pick between two movies. If you would like me to talk about Cannibal Holocaust in the next video, please let me know in the comments down below, and that video will probably get flagged, so please support this video, and if it's Cannibal Holocaust, please support the next video. But anyway, as of right now, let's get into The Beyond. Lucio Fulci is one of my favorite directors, and The Beyond is my favorite movie by him. It's a good mashup of different horror genres mixed together. There are elements of zombie movies, elements of haunted house flicks, there's cosmic horror. It's heavy on the cosmic horror, actually, which might be why I like it so much. I love cosmic horror.
I know it's you, I can sense it! What do you want from me now? What is it now?
And yes, zombies do play a big role in this movie, particularly in the third act, but I would not call The Beyond a zombie movie. It does lean a little more towards the haunted house aspect and the cosmic horror aspect. The zombies are just one part of a bigger story. And there are times where the zombies do feel more like ghosts, just horribly rotting, decaying ghosts. So yeah, it's hard for me to call this a zombie movie, but it is a great movie regardless of what genre you would put it in. The Beyond takes place in New Orleans, Italy. The movie does take place in Louisiana, but the way the movie was filmed, the exteriors were filmed in Louisiana, and the interiors were filmed in Italy, but the location for this movie is New Orleans. We follow a young woman named Liza who has just inherited a hotel in New Orleans. She's trying to get it fixed up and trying to get it to a point where she can start making some income on this building because this hotel is all she has left. She's trying to get back on her feet, trying to get things up and running in this new endeavor, but then strange deaths start occurring around the hotel.
The outside's okay, good old 1800s Louisiana. But the interior, I mean, hotels just aren't renovated.
Liza soon encounters a strange blind woman who warns her to get away from this hotel, just leave it alone, because she knows the dark history of what happened in this building.
You are Liza, aren't you? Yes. My name is Emily. I've been looking for you.
As the movie continues, even more bizarre deaths start to occur. Some very, very gory stuff here, and it's soon learned that this hotel was built over one of the 7 gateways to hell.
When there's no more room in hell, The dead will walk the earth.
Hey, back off, buddy. This is Lucio Fulci's movie. So, The Beyond is the second installment of Lucio Fulci's Gates of Hell trilogy, the first being City of the Living Dead, and House by the Cemetery being the unofficial third installment to the series. It was never made as part of the Gates of Hell movies, but fans have sort of adopted it as the third installment of this series. All three of these movies are built around gore and a nightmarish atmosphere. It was common in Fulci movies and Argento movies to focus less on the story and more on the visuals, because they wanted to create this experience that was like a nightmare. And all three of these movies do a good job at capturing that nightmarish feel, but for me, The Beyond does it the best. But this is a Lucio Fulci movie, so we all know what that means. Gore. Oodles and oodles of gore. There's a reason why Lucio Fulci was known as the Italian godfather of gore, and I think that's because he mixed tension in with his gore scenes. There would be times when he would film a gore scene and he would build up suspense as it was getting to the bloody moment, holding off just long enough to get the audience engaged, have them watching, not being able to take their eyes off the screen because they wanted to see if the bloody moment was going to happen. And then it did happen in gnarly detail. The best example of this is the eyeball scene from Zombie. But Fulci didn't always tease us with the bloodshed. He knew how to mix it up. Sometimes he would give you the gore right away, other times he would build up to the death in a proper way. It was a good mix to keep us gorehounds happy. The Beyond has some of my favorite gore scenes in Italian horror. One of Lucio Fulci's trademarks was eye trauma, and The Beyond has a lot of eye trauma, probably the most eye trauma in any movie. This video is officially demonetized. And of course we have my favorite kill in any Fulci movie, the tarantula scene. I've talked about this scene quite a few times on this channel already, but I'm gonna do it again, so brace yourself. The tarantula scene is, for me, the best example, or at least one of the best examples, of how Lucio Fulci mixed suspense in with his gore scenes. This man is looking through books at the library, trying to find more information about the hotel. He ends up falling off the ladder, hitting the ground, and then this pack of tarantulas starts crawling towards him. What do you call a group of tarantulas? Well, anyway, so the tarantulas are crawling towards him, they start crawling up his body, and then they start ripping his face apart. Now, I've heard a lot of people complain about this scene. The main complaint is, why doesn't this guy just get up? Well, here's the reason for that. One, this is a movie that's trying to capture the feeling of a nightmare, and there are many times in nightmares where you cannot move. The other reason is because this guy did just fall off a ladder. There are many instances where somebody falls off a ladder and they cannot get back up. It's not hard to believe that this guy falling off the ladder would result in him breaking his back or breaking his neck. Anyway, the build-up to the gore is just as effective as the gore. First we see these tarantulas crawling towards this guy's body, then they start crawling all over this guy's body, including his face, which instantly gives us that ugh feeling. And then they start ripping his face apart. I love gore and I love suspense, and I'll admit that as much of a gore hound as I am, I do love suspense more, but Fulci was good at mixing the two together. But lucky for us, Lucio Fulci was not just a one-trick pony. As great as the gore is in The Beyond, he also mixes in plenty of atmosphere. For me, All three movies in the Gates of Hell trilogy were a great mix of gore, suspense, and atmosphere. In The Beyond, the bloodshed is great, but there are also plenty of moments that do not rely on the gore to be effective. The tarantula scene is awesome. It's my favorite Lucio Fulci gore scene. But my favorite scene in the movie involves the mysterious blind girl, Emily.
Who else is here? There's nobody here. I can feel a presence. Somebody else is in here.
She's such a great character, drawing the audience in with this mystery about her. It's made pretty obvious that there's something unnatural about her. Anyway, she's the one who warns Liza about the hotel's dark history. This all builds up to one scene where Emily runs out of Liza's house.
Emily! Emily! Emily!
When Liza tries to follow her, she puts it together that Emily's feet don't make any noise when she walks. I like watching her put this together in her head. This is a perfect example of supernatural atmospheric horror. There's a reason why The Beyond is so popular amongst Italian horror fans. I mean, clearly I love this movie. It just has such a good mix of so many things that horror fans love. Now, there are people out there who do not view The Beyond as highly as I do. They lean more towards Zombie, City of the Living Dead, House by the Cemetery, New York Ripper, and various other Fulci movies, which is great. It shows how fans can love Fulci's movies for different reasons. But for me, The Beyond is one of my all-time favorite Italian horror movies, and if people would like, I will review Cannibal Holocaust next week. And with that, let's get to the Grindhouse rankings. We've got a body count of 10, give or take a kill or two. It gets a little messy in the zombie section of the flick. The kills consist of, but are not limited to, shots to the head, glass to the face, plenty of eye trauma, and death by man-eating tarantulas. This being a Fulci film, there's plenty of good gore. If you like eye trauma, this is the movie for you. And just like in other Fulci movies, he mixes suspense in with his gore. But the movie also has plenty of atmosphere. It makes it so we don't have to rely on bloodshed to keep us interested. The film has a good nightmarish feel to it. It does rely on visuals more than story, but the visuals are good. I love how this movie mixes different genres together. We get a taste of haunted house, zombies, and cosmic horror. And the ending has a good final image. I love a good final image. I'm giving this a 6 out of 5. One of my all-time favorite horror movies. I love this flick. As always, I want to thank all of you for continuing to watch and support this channel. Please leave a comment down below. Let me know your all-time favorite Italian horror movie. Now, if you're not really into Italian horror, then just let me know your all-time favorite foreign horror movie. This is the Maniac, here to remind you that the Grindhouse will never die. Now, I was going to end this review with my eyes becoming completely white, but I don't have the budget for that or the effects skills for that, so... Boogie, boogie, boogie.